Mm-hmm.
So this will be running right after the season finale. So, we're going to pretend now it's Wednesday. It's 9:01 p.m. Eastern, wherever else people live in the world. So I'm just going to come out of the gate running. Now that we know that Iris is alive, is Candace back for season 9? Can you say something about it?
As far as I know, unless you know something I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah,
the people want to know. I want to know. So,
Yeah, that is the plan. Barry and Iris finally got back together again. We got to keep them together.
Yeah. No, we're keeping you to it because, the Mirrorverse crisis. We can even go back to Saboteur and now this. I think these two have been through enough trauma for a lifetime in any universe. So, let's if now that we know that she is basically back, how will Iris tackle having gone through all of this? Will there be focus on her healing from this trauma as she kind of gets back to her life, building her media empire, and just living her happy married life with Barry Allen?
Well, yeah, it's all the above. It's not just Iris, it's Barry and Iris. The big thing, moving forward, especially finishing up season 8. By the way, that's literally like this episode was so big, season 8 finale, 8:20, that all the special effects, getting them all together. I mean, it was quite intense. One of the things that now I'm finally on the other side of that is, before diving into season 9, is I'm taking a break.
Yes.
For the first time in a long time. I'm taking a wee bit of a break. So I don't have as many answers as I probably usually would. That's on purpose. I don't want to force anything. In the writing of season 8, we thought that was going to be the end. We thought that was going to be the final season, to be honest with you. And we had gotten all the way to the end. We're writing this final battle between Negative Reverse Flash and Barry Allen Flash, when the news came through that we had gotten a 9th season. Woo! Which hopefully isn't the last. Hopefully there's more beyond that, because
10 seasons sounds pretty good to me. 200 episodes, CW. I'm just saying.
I agree 100%. There's so many more stories that I want to tell. So many more. It's so hard to decide which ones to tell and which ones to prioritize. But now that we're coming to the end of 6, 7, and 8, which I kind of look at as almost one big novel. Almost, that's what it was. One big novel of an
omnibus, maybe.
Yeah, an omnibus. Yeah. I'm looking forward very much to starting a little fresher. Doesn't mean we won't have our usual graphic novels. I already know who the 2 big bads are for season 9. And yes, I do know what the season 9 finale is. I always know where I'm driving to. But beyond that, I want to take a little time off, just rest the brain, and come back to it fresh, because it's been a very intense few years making this show in the global pandemic. We've all been through a lot of things. We've been through it together, quite frankly. So, but having said that, one of the things I will tell you that I do want to do in season 9, and it's getting back to your original question about Iris healing and all that good stuff. See, I'm paying attention.
No, okay.
Is it's not just about Iris healing, it's about Barry and Iris, who have been married for all this time, but haven't spent enough time together due to the intense things that have been happening. Time sickness, Mirrorverse, clones, all of these wonderful dramatic things.
As one does.
As one does. So I'm looking forward to exploring in season 9 the marriage. I'm not saying there won't be villains and threats, because it's a show, you gotta have drama, but maybe not quite as intensely impactful upon their personal relationship as far as taking them apart. I want to keep them more together next year. I think that's important going into next season. And hopefully you saw a little preview of that at the end of 8:20, where they are both kind of on the same page. Not only are they ready to face the future together, but she says to him, hey, it's not just I'm your lightning rod, you're my lightning rod too. We see her level up, because yes, as unsubtle as it was,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea, right? That was the theme for season 8. And yes, Iris was the last one who hadn't leveled up, which of course everybody knew. I'm surely you knew it was coming, right? You knew she was going to level up inside the time zone.
I was hoping.
Yes. So I thought that was pretty amazing. And and just exploring what it means to be now a couple that's leveled up, both as man and wife, spouses, and as heroes, and as friends too. Sometimes we forget. One of the things I want to explore next year in season 9 is we forget sometimes that a married couple, they're friends too. You know what I mean? Sometimes they just like to hang out. So I too want to see what that looks like in season 9, and how, yes, the first big bad of season 9 gets in the way of that. But let's see them this time struggle against that big bad together rather than apart, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, I know that the time signature story. I'm sure that it has been very divisive, and
Yes.
especially with the way that there were a lot of viewers, and we were also wondering same way that the rest of the team and Barry, in these kind of last few episodes leading up to the finale, didn't seem too worried about where Iris was, even though we do that she's in the future and so. But like in the present, we were wondering about where their minds were at. Can you talk about how you decided the way Iris time sickness would be dealt with, and what would you say into response to concerns about the lack of her agency? And so, because we didn't get to see, we missed her for a couple of weeks, and now she's back. But kind of just talk a little bit more about that in depth. But now that everything is aired, we can talk about it
Yes.
in
Yeah, yeah.
open.
No, I totally get it. First of all, we give her as much agency as we can, but it's hard for a character to have agency when they're not on screen. So it's just a practical thing. At some point, we only have Candace for so many episodes in a season. So at that point, when we don't have her, the character can only have so much agency. Conversely, on the other side, as we saw in Into the Speed Force, which is the first episode really where she's gone, and immediately Barry goes to search for her. It's at the top of his mind there. He mentions again in 816 also. But as he starts to get new threats, what you don't want, because we are an 8 o'clock family show, I want to make sure that you don't just have the characters so concerned about a particular threat that there's no chance for growth, or there's no chance for the story to continue. And it's a fine balance. It's a tricky balance. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Some folks may have enjoyed the balance. Some folks may have not. I accept that. It's all good. That's what's great about fandom. You know what I mean? Everybody's got an opinion, and I think that's totally cool. You know. But as far as when Iris was on screen, I think we gave her tons to do. Tons to do. That's why we had her in her own, on her own kind of mission in Coast City. I wanted specifically in the middle of the season, give her all of that good stuff, because she's building her life as a journalist. And one thing that I realized was missing was she hasn't really gone off on a journey as a journalist to kind of dig into a story and then have that story take twists and turns that then lead to drama. So I wanted to make sure we got that, because as we've learned this season, she's going to win 2 Pulitzers at some point over the next 25 years. Winning a Pulitzer and getting a prize isn't exactly the most exciting, dramatic thing on television. You may think it is, but it's not. Sometimes it's the journey to get there. But I was very happy for us to sort of start that and to continue it again next year. I don't know if that answers your question fully, but
Sort of.
that's the thought process that's going on. Because in our minds, just because you don't, and also there's scenes that ended up on the cutting room floor, specifically from 16
I was going
and
to ask
17,
about that.
that have the characters just sitting there going, oh gosh, I wonder where Iris is. I'm falling apart and I can't handle it anymore. And we have 41 minutes and 40 seconds to tell the story. Sometimes those scenes get put on the cutting room floor. So for us, when we write the scripts, it's right there, right? And we see it. It doesn't always make it to the screen. Doesn't mean that there wasn't the attempt to get it in there. It means that at the end of the day, we only have so much time. You know?
Might we see them on the home release? And if so, are there
some of them? Yes.
Can you tease the viewers maybe maybe a little give a little specific of what maybe one specific scene that was deleted?
Well, it's like, it's not so much deleted scenes. What happens is it's the scene gets truncated. So it's a 5-minute
Okay.
scene or a 4-minute scene. So the scene's probably in there, but there's 90 seconds that got pulled out of it.
Okay.
For example, I don't know if it's on the DVD. I haven't looked at the DVD supplements yet because they're still putting those things together. But I
Mhm.
remember, especially in 816, there in Barry and Joe's conversation after they've started to play the D&D game, and Barry and Joe are pulling each other aside. They're kind of having a one-on-one. There's an intense, like, 90 seconds of both of them really going in depth about how the previous week they had failed to find Iris, what this could mean for the team, et cetera, et cetera. But it wasn't, we just were not able to fit it into a 41 minute and 40 seconds episode. Just didn't
Mhm.
fit, And you guys would be surprised how much we have to cut out sometimes. And it's not just us, it's all shows, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course, of
And
course.
it breaks our heart sometimes. Sometimes you have to be willing to, kill your darlings, I think is the phrase that they use sometimes. You have to be willing to look at what the whole story is that you have to accomplish given the season as a whole versus, oh, I really want that line or that moment in or that extra little bit or that extra scene. And it's sad and it happens, but it's just making television, just the way it is.
No, I understand that for sure. Another thing I wanted to speak about, speaking of deleted scenes, was there something that did not make it into the finale? Because again, I think I feel everyone and their mother on the
Mhm.
show spoke about how big this finale was going to be. But of course, I understand there's only 41 minutes to go with. So was there anything that they didn't make it?
Yeah, some of it was so large we had to cut it out of the shooting script, right, literally like at the 11th hour, right before
Oh,
we started shooting, because it was so huge. It was so huge,
mhm.
and uh, when folks see it, I mean, all those, that final battle between Negative Reverse Flash and Flash is just. I mean, we have two units going at the same time. We have visual effects going with the live action. I mean, it's then Iris is coming out of the time stone at the same time. It's all this. It's it's so much going on. In fact, I can think of at least two scenes that were cut out of 820. There's a scene with I think it's I think hopefully this is on the DVD. Again, I haven't looked at the supplements, but
No.
it's a scene with extra scene with Jay Garrick and Joan that we just couldn't fit in, and it's them in 2049. Again, expressing concern over Iris. It's one of those
Mhm.
kind of emotional scenes where, oh, and we had an Easter egg in it too. Oh, that's sad. I hope that one gets on the DVD. It's an Easter egg for season 10. Should we get one, actually? Because I have a tendency
Wow,
to.
wow, Eric. Wow.
What
You said just said 10 minutes ago, Andy, I need a break. Me also, Eric, I'm planning season 10 at the same time.
I like my job.
No, no,
I
of course, of
I
course.
love the show. Sometimes I can't stop thinking about it. And so what I'll do is what I did with the Death Storm storyline. Clearly I'm planting seeds for Blackest Night in that storyline. Clearly. Can we do it? I don't know. Can we pull it off? I don't know. Does CW want to do a crossover on it? I don't know. But I'm certainly going to put it out there, you know? Um,
I don't mind that.
so yeah, in that deleted scene, there's a huge thing that connects to 704. Yeah, it connects to Abracadabra, who told us that the Chronarch was in Barry's future and all that stuff. And there's another clue as to how that actually connects to another very well known in the comics concept and how they all kind of come together. So if I get to do a season 10, that's the spoiler right there. It's exactly where we're driving to. So
All right. Well, for people watching this, you can go ahead, comment, speculate in the comments, and we will see what happens. There was something that just loved about Iris's role in this episode is when the whole thing about you know, restarting her spark with Barry, also thanks with the help of Damien Dark again, Neil McDonough. That was a surprise for sure. But does that indicate anything
amazing.
about? He's wonderful. But does that indicate anything about the future of her story, or is that merely just a testament to their love, especially now 8 seasons in?
No, that's just the latter. It's a testament to how much I just love the character, and how wonderful it is to see where she started out, right? with her dissertation and all that stuff and dreams of being a journalist, to now having an entire floor full of, 10 or 12 employees, her own office, and starting to branch out, and then knowing where she's going even beyond that by the time she gets to 2049, as we see, with 2 Pulitzers, as we learn in 819. It's so exciting. So I wanted to honor the character because, again, we didn't have her for 4 episodes. I've lost track.
That was 4 episodes.
Yes, I think it was 4 episodes, 16, 17, 18, right? No, 5, 3.
No, 15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah. 15. It's so funny having directed 15. Even though she's not in the episode's so much about her. It's what I liked about that one. And I remember talking to Grant about this. I said, "Isn't this cool?" It's like she's not here, but she's with us. We're actively trying to find her. I thought that was what was so cool about the script of that one. What I wanted to kind of bring out. But yeah, it's to honor 8 seasons of her awesomeness, quite frankly, and also to say, hey, in season 9, now the couple has kind of leveled up both together. Now we can see them going forward from this point, and what does that look like? Because we haven't really seen as much of it because of her time sickness. She just wasn't around. It's hard to show a married couple, just having a quiet night, watching, movies and eating pizza when one of them's trapped in the Phantom Zone. Well, thankfully she's not anymore. As I said many times, I said the time sickness storyline was one of those things that was born from circumstance in COVID. That's really where it came from. It gave us, I thought, some really great, wonderful drama. And I'm very happy with the way it was resolved. But now it's time to move on. It's time to move forward. That's the excitement of storytelling.
Well, just because you were talking about the Pulitzers, have you and the writers, like, in your mind, do you know what's going to be the story that gets her at least one of those Pulitzers before the show ends, or is that something you will deal with once you get there?
Yes and no. I've always known what I think one of them is. It's kind of intense, and as I'm trying not to think about season 9, but I can't stop thinking about season 9. I don't know if I want to go there because it's so intense. So I may throw it out the window and start fresh, simply because that's one thing I want to do. I don't want to just take a little bit of break. I want to get away and clear my palette a little bit creatively so I can come into season 9. Again, I know what the finale of season 9 is. As I've said many times, I know where we're driving to, but how we get there could be very different. Which is what I'm starting to think. And I'm like, maybe we throw that dark story out and see what comes more organically with it, or maybe we don't see the story at all that earns her the Pulitzer Prize. There may be other stories to tell with Iris as a character next year.
Okay. Well, Barry went dark in this finale. Grant ate in those first couple of minutes, as the kids say it, with the, again, and I haven't even finished seeing the finished effects yet. So, and he had to be pulled from Murder Ledge at this point. How does that go forward with him? Would you imagine that this is something that he, because we never seen Barry Allen really murder anyone. If someone has died at his hands, it's been of course been by accident. But this was the first time he almost went all over Queen on Eobard's ass. So
right.
How does the show tackle that for him as a character?
We already did, in my opinion. That's what his family tells him. Okay. It's like, Dad, it's okay. You don't have to and he says it right there in Act 1 of 820. You didn't see what I saw. You didn't feel what I felt. She died in my arms. I saw her. He's speaking from a very passionate place in that moment. Well, thank goodness he had his family to pull him back from the brink. That's the theme that I want to get across in that episode. Yeah, he can remember that moment and learn from it moving forward. That's what's super cool. But it's not something that should haunt him any more than creating a flashpoint in 301 haunts him. And how every about year or so it kind of comes up again and they go, don't create a flashpoint again. And he goes, oh, you're right.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Or he brings it up to somebody else as he did this year. Right. I think it was Caitlin he was talking to in an episode earlier. That happens a lot. This moment will be that kind of thing for Barry's character moving forward. Oh, that's right. I came way too close to almost actually taking a life. And quite frankly, if there was any life he was going to take, he was never going to do that. But if he was, this probably would have been the reason. Not that that was an excuse. And thank goodness he did not do it, because he does listen to his kids. He's doing it. He's doing the lightning. He's doing his, best lightning, kind of thing going. And they come in and they say, Dad, don't do it. Blah, blah, blah. We're still alive. That means Mom's still alive. There's still a possibility. And he stops. So we still see that it is the same Barry. And he's haunted throughout the episode, which is why he defies his kids. He goes to the negative speed force, which is why when they go into that final battle, all the speedsters except Barry deliberately, and I talked to Grant about this, we had Grant have a line there where Impulse says, this is for all the lives you've taken. Somebody else says, we're going to kick your butt. And then Fast Track says, and I'm going to avenge Eobard. Like, they each have a line. There was originally a line for the Flash too. But in talking to Grant about it, we came to the conclusion, and it was Grant's really great instinct. He's like, what happens if I don't say this line here? And I said, it would be even better. I'm one of those writers who has no problem killing my darlings, so just taking a line out. And I really liked that moment where you just sit on his face, because that's the last moment where you're wondering, okay, is this it? Is he going to cross the line here? And of course, we've seen the episode. We know that he doesn't. We know that he gets brought back. We know that his lightning rod and he's her lightning rod. They get back together, etc., etc. He sees the light. He finds balance. He zens out, just like he zenned out in 8:15. It all comes full circle. That's the lesson. These last kind of, even though the graphic novel is 17, 18, 19, and 20, it's really 15, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Okay. Well, Byron, can you give us a title now that it's over?
Yes, I can. You'll get it first, because I forgot I was going to tweet it this morning, and I totally forgot to do it. So I'm going to do it on Wednesday when the finale airs. But the name of the final graphic novel, which is 17, 18, and 19, and 20, with a little pre-15, it's called It's All Negative, because of obvious reasons.
Suitable.
Yes, and that's what it's always been. But I just knew if I was to say that too soon, that it would just become obvious that, oh, that's not really Dion. That's negative Dion, and it's been negative Dion for a while. And and then I don't like to spoil things,
No, I hear you.
But I did mean to. I thought it was rather obvious by 19. Oh, it's negative part 1. I bet you the title of the graphic novel's got negative in the title. Yes, it does.
Well, let's go from negative, because I'm feeling a little blue now, Eric. There's this Crystal that I have spent, I don't want to say how many hours I spent on Googling DC Comics Blue Crystal, because I know you're teasing something. I know you're trying to set something up.
Yes.
And is it Max Mercury? Is it Cabal Blue? Hey, could it even be a Sailor Moon Crystal reference? I doubt it is. But what's
it could be Blue Beetle for all we know. Who knows?
Eric, I will literally scream if Blue Beetle is coming to the show, because but it's Jaime or Ted. I mean, for Arrow's fans, we've been waiting for Ted Cord since insert whatever episode Arrow started mentioning Cord Industries. So, what has you so excited about this Crystal, Eric?
Oh, I can't answer that, because then that would give away the secret of who the big bad is, of course. But I will tell you this. The negative Speed Force as it says in the episode, has to choose a new avatar. Has to, in order to maintain, because the whole thing, the only reason Barry didn't really win, he just restored balance. So it's more Thawne lost, I think, is more accurate way to phrase it. But the balance has to be maintained. So, sooner or later next year, somehow the negative Speed Force's new avatar will have to appear, and that can't be good for Barry and Iris, right? I just can't be happy, right?
Well, I'm glad you gave us the clue that it's at least somewhere in the future. Also, fun that it was appropriately on June 29th, 2049. Just 27 years in the future when the finale is not airing. So,
Yeah.
but I had to try. I had to try because I mean, listen, I'm a comic book nerd just like yourself. So
Mhm.
but again, I Googled the heck out of it, Eric. Like it felt like months. It felt like it was almost 4 months instead of just 4 days. But most people would have expected Eobard to survive until the series finale, but now we know, of course, this was a season finale. But we didn't just lose one, Eric. You took both of them away from us in
Mhm.
probably the most gruesome way. I mean, Joshua. Okay, introduction. This is Eric Wallace. He loves horror. If you didn't know that, watch 819. Joshua Williamson must be just swimming in royalties at this point because like there's so much coming from his comics.
Mhm.
So what I wanted to ask is what is your response to the fact that they're both gone, or should we expect maybe at least one of them down the line? Because I mean, there's no Flash without Reverse Flash, whether it's Matt Letcher or Tom Cavanaugh.
I would say you're right, Andy. Um, it is a comic book show. Now,
Mm-hmm.
to answer that properly, let's back up just a second. When writing this is before we got a season 9 pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So it was written to be a series finale. We
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh, this is it. Well, the end of the show has to be Reverse Flash versus Flash. And since Flash leveled up, Reverse Flash has to level up too. Oh, then we get NRF. We get our negative Reverse Flash, or Nerf, as we lovingly call him around the office. It's very funny.
Oh my god.
It's very, very fun. We have a good time over there. It's like, hey, how's Nerf's costume coming along? It's really good. I just need to adjust a little bit. I said, oh, that's really great. So a little insider baseball. But that's the term that we call him very lovingly in Tom's new black costume. But we thought we were writing the final battle between Tom Cavanaugh and Grant Gustin. Literally until we were in the middle of writing 820 when the news came down that thank goodness we have a 9th season. So at that point, it's too late. We're shooting in a week. Right? It's like, okay, well, he's definitely dead. Yeah, we killed him. Oh, and then we tore the other guy's face off, so he's dead too. And we have another season. What do we do? Now, I will tell you, as a comic book fan, fellow comic book fan, how many times has the Joker to Batman, or Lex Luthor, or Brainiac to Superman, or whomever to whomever, right? Sinestro to Green Lantern, whichever villain and hero you want to use. How many times have they died or gone to jail and they're never going to get out, and then suddenly they're back? It's a convention of comic books. So, to answer your question specifically, yes, both versions of Eobard Thawne are truly dead. The Nerf Reverse Flash. It's so funny. I can't stop saying it. The negative Reverse Flash is dead,
Mm-hmm.
and our lovable Eobard Thawne, the one that was rescued by the Ton Rafeson legend and came over to us and got his face ripped in half, he's dead also. But if I were a betting man, I find it impossible to believe that this is the last time we've seen Tom Cavanaugh on our show. I don't think so. Because
I
come on,
mean,
just wouldn't be right, would it?
yeah. I mean, I was just I was pleasantly surprised to see Matt Letcher. That was so much fun, and just the way you guys brought him in, with Mina, but Mina was incredible. She was so much fun. But yeah, no, but again, like it's Reverse Flash and Flash. I mean, I just can't see the show end without both of them together somehow. Was because I guess because you said that there was 1 week before you started shooting. Was the blue crystal always in there, or was that just something you had to add?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, so nothing changed for the
Yeah,
finale.
that part didn't change. In fact, the only thing we were going to do is we were going to use it in a different way. And we're like, all right, well, if it's a series finale, like forever, this is going to mean one thing. In fact, at one point, I think we took it out of the script when we did feel like it was a series finale because it sets up, it sets up another season. And we were thinking, okay, well, if this is the end, let's have the plot resolved. Let's have some more emotional things happen. And we had to rewrite, excuse me, we had to rewrite the final speech between Barry and Iris on the couch to rewrite their final speech. But then we found out that we were coming back, and then we had to rewrite it a third time. So yeah, as I recall, it seems like a lifetime ago, and that was only several months ago, and then shooting it and then putting it together. It's been a crazy last few months. Crazy.
No, I can tell. Yeah, no, but definitely take that break, Eric. I don't know what you love to relax with. You just take that break for sure. I want to switch things over a little bit. Go a little bit further back into season 8 because I know this was something because you're the only one we can basically ask this because Diggle had a pretty big story near the end of the season, and I know this started on Arrow, and I know this is something that Mark Guggenheim initiated with DC and so on, but a lot of people were surprised with the conclusion of that story because everyone expected John Diggle, or I think as many people like to call him at this point, John Diggle Stewart, to put on certain ring, maybe play some Beyonce. I wouldn't have minded it. But can you talk about how did that conclusion result? Like, was it something DC said we can't do this anymore, or what can you disclose without getting in trouble, of course?
Right. Well, I mean, you said it correctly. I remember watching the Arrow finale myself, and the thing that Mark had set up. I'm like, wait a minute, is he Green Lantern? What just happened? I was as surprised as anyone. And I'm like, all right, I wonder that's kind of cool. I wonder where that's gonna go. And then the phone rings. Bring. Hey, it's Warner Brothers, CW, and DC. Well, hello, how are you? So hey, what's in that box? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. Isn't he Green Lantern? Like, what are you asking me for? So it's very, very funny, right? And then we went down a road, and the long story answer to that, to make it as short as concise, and I'm not a very short and concise person at all, as everyone knows.
Welcome to the club, then.
Yes, is who said that story was over? I certainly didn't. I just saw a box disappear. I could tell you where the box went. That's the difference, which I cannot tell you. But I can tell you this. Just because Diggle threw the box away, that doesn't mean the story of that box is over. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a semantics thing.
No. The reason I'm laughing is because I literally was betting with a friend the other day because I said I was going to talk to you, and he was like, "You need to ask about the Green Lantern box." I'm like, I bet he's going to tell you that just because they threw it away, like who says it's like actually done? Like there's another season. He's like, I just won $10 thanks to you, Eric. So thank you.
The other thing is though, nobody said it was a Green Lantern box. Nobody.
But that's what people want. People want to see him finally suit up as Green Lantern. But I know, of course, that's up to the powers of DC. I understand.
That's above my pay grade.
Well, another question that also kind of retreads to the season, earlier in the season, actually, because we were talking about this last year, and this will be running right after not just the Flash finale, but also the Superman Lois finale, because we learned that Superman Lois is not on Earth Prime after all. And I know that when
dude, I haven't seen it. Good Lord.
Oh, come on. You must have known, Eric. Come on.
Dude, I'm behind 2 episodes. I'm on episode. I just finished watching 13. So I'm trying to watch the last 2 at once.
Okay.
So that's okay. It's funny. I'm like, something's going on here.
Yeah.
So, don't tell me any more spoilers though, because I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
No more spoilers. Yeah, because I was talking to Todd Helbing earlier today, and we were talking a little bit about that. But it made me think about, hey, Eric said that Tyler was almost on Flash for Armageddon. So I kind of just want to return to that question and just ask, if he had shown up, were you under the assumption that he was going to be the Superman for the Superman Lois, or what was the situation? I mean, I know you did, like, script wise and story, there probably isn't.
No. It's a great question. No, this is before, because I had to talk to Todd and Tyler about it, and I said, "Oh, it's Superman. We're on the same Earth. It'll be great," And well, we're not sure. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, even if you're not on the same Earth, there's a Superman on this Earth. Can he just be that Superman? Right? That was that way
Mm,
you could have him kind of come over as he's done with other crossovers. Now it didn't end up working out for other reasons, scheduling and
mm.
all that stuff, and COVID and all that stuff. So unfortunately, we never had to really, cross that bridge. Or fortunately, I guess we never crossed that bridge. But I'm still not giving up. I'm still not going to give up. I got to watch the last two episodes of Superman and Lois and find out what they're up to and find out
I
what
am
it means.
sorry. I am so
You know?
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It makes more sense to me. It makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
It's funny because I know Todd well, but we're both so busy making our shows, we don't get a
Mm.
chance to talk. Really, only at the beginning of seasons. Hey, how's it going? How's your summer? What'd you do? How's the kids? How's the family? Blah blah blah. Or at the end, man, how are you doing? Oh, I survived. Yeah, I survived it. Yeah, and then we have when we trade war stories and stuff. So I'll catch up with him in a couple months or so before both our respective rooms probably open up, because I do like to just kind of know, just in general, hey, is there anything I might need to know just in case our characters ever meet or cross paths, or there's something that we're doing that could affect your storyline, et cetera, et cetera. And there's no crossover between our shows at all. They're very, very, very different tonally, so I don't have to really worry about it. But I do really like that show a lot, so I try to
Mm.
just. Sometimes I'm just checking in, and I'll tell Todd. He'll say, "Well, man, this is gonna happen." I'm like, "No, no, no, no! Don't tell me. I just want to watch it." It's like I'm on episode 11. He's like, and I said, "You're going to Bizarro World," because I saw that. I was like, "Are you gonna go back?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no! I take it back. I don't want to know."
Oh, you will have so much fun with those 2 episodes then. No,
Yeah.
because when I talked to him and I said, like, because everyone is aware, at some point the Flash,
Mhm.
we are closer to the end than the beginning,
Right.
and of course for fans they want to see these characters meet at some point. Like people want to see
Of
Iris
course.
and Lois kick so much
Of
ass as
course.
journalists. They want to see,
Of course.
they really want to see Barry and Clark get on that race, and I mean, you and I obviously know who would win that race. There's,
Of course.
why
Because the
would
Flash.
why the hell would a Kryptonian win?
No, the
So
Flash would win.
yeah, of course, of course. So no, but I'm definitely asking like for, because people are definitely gonna wonder now like what our crossover possibilities gonna look like. I'm like, well, I said to Todd the same thing. You worked on the Flash. You are well familiar with the
Mhm.
multiverse. Open a breach and we'll make it happen, I guess. So, but I just want to get your take because
Right.
I know people are gonna be like they're gonna be confused, and hopefully this will clear up a little bit when
Mm.
this comes out on Wednesday. So,
Well, I'll watch those two. I'll watch the last two, then it'll be clear in my mind. But always remember this: as much as Todd and I might want to cross over, it's not up to us.
yeah,
That comes from CW and Warner Brothers and on high and things of that nature. Also, we're still dealing with COVID.
yeah,
It's not like it was. I look back to season 6 of Flash when we were doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. You didn't realize sometimes how good you had it. Where, oh, okay, just I'll borrow you for a day, and hey, send Flash or send Grant there. Oh, I'll write the script, the particular scene from Supergirl because it has Flash in it. Hey, Batwoman or Black Lightning writer, can you write this scene that we're going to use? All right. There was so much cross pollination, and it was so much fun to do. And the pandemic just overnight put an end to all that. Just put an end
yeah,
to all of it. So as much as I want those things, and I know the audience wants those things, we have to be mindful we're just not in the same world anymore. You know,
yeah.
so I don't want to promise things that we may or may not be able to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's one thing to want something and but actually then to be allowed to do it because it's
Mhm,
but hopefully, I mean, hopefully before it ends, hopefully at least something will happen where maybe Clark comes over with Lois or
mhm,
something. Leave
mhm,
the kids at home; they'll be fine.
mhm.
But maybe maybe they can hang out with Baby Jenna wherever she's at. That's one is for Breeze when you watch this. So we're doing our Baby Jenna watch as always.
Yes.
I know I gotta let you go soon, so I'm gonna do like rapid questions.
Yeah.
Bloodwork, Eric, that comic had
Yes.
me screaming. Have you and Sentinel Murphy just chatted recently? Over Zoom, just how lives are.
I can reveal that without revealing anything. Yeah, I talked to Cendile last month. because we both like tennis. And, it's Wimbledon going on and whatnot. Sendiel's fantastic. I will tell you this: that comic book is canon.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? And I won't go any further than that because I don't like spoilers, which should tell you everything you need to know.
No, of course. No, again, I mean, I think this will get a lot of people excited either way. I mean, I could try talking about the Spectre, but I know you won't. But I hope you have Stephen Amell's phone number, I guess, somewhere.
Again, I will give you the same answer. Those comic books are canon.
There you go.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
It is. It is quite interesting. It's just, man, I was just not prepared for have to wait to season 9 till next year. Like that's the insane part. But maybe that means less hiatuses when we come back on air.
I hope so. It'd be nice. We don't know how many episodes we're doing yet. I'm waiting to find out. So, but it's always nice when we can have almost an uninterrupted run for the audience, so they can just get one every week. So I'm hopeful for that too. So fingers crossed, everybody.
Yeah. Well, this year was actually good because we had only 2 breaks. With just 1 week. So it was, like I had a better time like remembering when it was happening. So, I know we didn't see Danielle Panabaker in this episode, but we definitely heard her. Eric, what have you done to put again? You called it, Eric. You said this finale was tripping. I think you meant traumatizing because there's a lot of things that are traumatizing with this. I said I was worried that she would come back as a zombie. Thank God that's not the case.
That's not the case.
Yet. You love horror, so who knows?
Okay,
But,
so I can. Okay, no spoilers. She's Danielle Panabaker's still on the show in season 9, and she's not coming back as a zombie. Okay, I said it right there. Okay, put it out of your minds.
Because obviously, I guess because at that point, like, we saw less of her in the last few episodes because of her pregnancy and so on. But
obviously.
How excited are you to explore that next year?
Oh, I can't wait. Not only am I excited, so is Danielle, who knows what the plan is. Because when I came up with the idea, I had to talk to her about it. And I said, got this crazy thought for season 9. And I walked her through it. And she's like, oh, yes. Oh, yes. So it's very, very exciting. It's very, very, it's weird. It's different, but it's very fun. It's very, very fun. And I didn't want to traumatize people. That's not my goal.
No, I'm obviously joking. I'm like, I'm a melodramatic person.
Yeah. Which is why we made sure, because we were going to do something different to Danielle's voice when she's in the cryo coffin, right? And I realized that might have the wrong effect of saying, oh, she's not on the show anymore if they can't tell that it's her voice. And I do want people to know that Danielle Panabaker, you will see, if not walking out of the cryo tube, we'll cut to a week later and she's out. And who that is, though, that's the mystery. That's the mystery. But yes, both Danielle and I are both very, very excited to share it with everybody. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super fun. Super fun.
My first thought was what took me back to the season 1 finale, where Barry goes back in the Speed Force, and we see that brief shot of Caitlin as Killer Frost, which again I know people have interpreted that as Earth 2-1, but I'm like, we're post crisis now, so who is to say? So I'm just gonna put it out there. I know I got to let you go soon, so is there anything else you want to say? You want to talk about that I haven't? I've grilled you, and again, even though you didn't give me spoilers, you got people I know people will be talking about things from this interview, I'm sure. So anything you want to share with the online class as we close it? Because again, I'm sure you and I will talk maybe later in the year. But
yes, of course. Well, again, I kind of look at these seasons 6, 7, and 8 as one big omnibus. The omnibus is over. I'm happy to say it was very intense. But I'm looking forward to starting fresh in a lot of ways with these next 2 graphic novels for next year and having a little fun. That's one of the things that I'm thinking about more next year. And again, I want to get away with it, but I think it's time for some fun. I think it's time for a little romance, I think is in order, which is what I'm. People think because I love horror movies that I don't love romance. Folks, my favorite rom-com is Notting Hill. I think it's the greatest movie ever made. I don't care what anybody thinks. I watched it the other night and I'm like, this movie's so good. Why can't they just love each other? I'm a sap for love in the same way that I love tearing people's faces off. Just, it's okay to do both. So I have indulged the face tearing half of my psyche. Perhaps it's time to indulge the romantic side. So I would say stay tuned for something perhaps a little bit, again, I keep using the word fun for season 9. I can see us going in that direction. That's where my heart seems to be going. And maybe, just to not get too serious, but maybe that's me coming out of where some of us have all been during this pandemic. Let's face it. Let's be honest. Maybe now it's time for all of us to kind of move forward as things are happening around us. Maybe we need to smile a little bit more. Maybe a little romance and humor might be just what the doctor ordered. And so I like to embrace that. And again, like I said, who doesn't love Notting Hill? It's a wonderful, delightful film.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you'll like it. It's really great.
Okay.
Hugh Grant, right? Okay, so he owns this bookshop, and then in comes Julia Roberts, right? And I won't tell you any more there, but it's really funny and it's charming, and they have this really great dinner scene in the middle. Oh, it's so funny. I'll have to watch it again. I love that movie. I love, again, I know this sounds crazy. I love rom-coms. I love them. They're so wonderful. Just as I don't talk about them because we've been in the middle of some very intense Flash episodes, doesn't mean that I don't see that other side coming out. So stay tuned. Stay tuned and watch Notting Hill.
I will. Okay, I promise, because I spoiled the Superman Lois finale for the Flash showrunner, so that I'm embarrassed. So I will watch it as homework. I will probably DM you a message, be like, "Oh my god, it was amazing." So, but again, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing season 9. Whether it's the last one or not, we don't know. Would you say we will at least, if you guys know when the last season is, will we know before we get into it, or so people can be prepared to say goodbye?
Well, I would hope so. First of all, I hope it's not the last season. That's fingers crossed, because again, like I said, we got a lot of stories to tell, and I've been thinking about seasons. I thought about seasons 6, 7, and 8 together. I'm thinking about seasons 9 and 10 together in a very, again, humorous, lighter, romantic way. So I want to have at least 2 years to accomplish that plan. But it's not up to me. But I hope. But let's all just keep our fingers crossed. We won't know until it happens. Again, that is not my decision. I'm just going to plan to tell the best stories we can every week.
Well, if the show ends, that there's always that spin-off that I keep bugging you about.
Yes. There's many. If you guys want to see a particular spin-off, tell the CW. Start writing them, because I'm not focused on that at all. This is me. My agenda.
It's my agenda. People are gonna be like, "What do you know?" But I don't know anything.
No. I'm just saying. If that's something that you want to see, we are in that world where an audience can start that movement. So go for it. In the meantime, I'm gonna stay focused until somebody tells me otherwise on making something really unique and fresh, which is what I try to do every year on The Flash. It's a challenge, the show. The biggest challenge, and I'll end with this, and the biggest privilege, I think, of making this show is trying to keep a show that's 7, 8, or now 9 years old, trying to keep it fresh. Ooh, it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
You're not the longest running Arrowverse show of all of them. As of this Wednesday, 171 episodes. So congrats on that. So
thank you.
Get that rest. Watch those damn Superman Lois episodes so you're caught up. So I don't. I'm gonna dig up my own grave and just not wake up and just be embarrass myself.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna watch them tomorrow.
Okay, good.